years after women won the right to vote in the United States. And let me dwell a minute on the history of the women's movement in America and its close connection with the history of this organization. And I will start by referring to President Obama's inaugural address. He said in his inaugural address, and I'm quoting, "We the people declare today that the most evident of truths that all of us are created equal is the star that guides us still, just as it guided our forebears through Seneca Falls and Selma and Stonewall." Seneca Falls, I think there are lots of Americans won't recognize that, that name, but I will explain what Seneca Falls is. It refers to a convention which was the first to be organized by women in the Western world. And it took place at Seneca Falls, New York in July of 1848. It was the first time that women's right to vote was raised, and it was supported, that right was supported in the closing declaration of that convention. The 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, securing the right to vote for women, became law on August 26, 1920. And the motto of our club, founded 2 years later, is "From the right to vote, the power to lead." And no figure exemplified this better than Eleanor Roosevelt, the wife of President Franklin Roosevelt, and who used this club as a meeting place for women to engage in political dialogue. We have an Eleanor Award, which this year will be given to Harry Belafonte, who was a good friend of Eleanor Roosevelt's. Eleanor Roosevelt was the driving force behind the UN Declaration of Human Rights, passed by the UN General Assembly in 1948. In 1995, at the Beijing UN fourth World Conference on Women, Hillary Clinton, then wife of the American president, spoke. She spoke of, quote, "women's rights as human rights," and her appearance was widely regarded as heartening women all over the globe to pursue their rights. We pursue issues of women's rights today in the WNDC in a variety of ways, including through our public policy task force on global women, which has been very active recently, especially on the issue of the trafficking of women. The Public Policy Committee, which I head, has a dozen active task forces. The leader of our Environment Task Force has won many awards for the documentary she and her husband produced on the environmental impact of war. The head of our Elections Task Force was hired by the Obama campaign as Deputy Director of the Get Out the Vote campaign in Virginia. Recently, we established a special committee on stopping gun violence and are part of the coalition against gun violence, marching to the Capitol this morning. And I hope we will have, and when they come into the room, I will hope they will raise, I will ask them to raise their hands because they are coming back from the march. The WNDC also is active through an educational foundation which works with schools in the district, among other things, and a very active speakers program. And before I turn this meeting over to your moderator, I would like to mention just a few of our upcoming programs. The first one I see on my list is today, the status